Hi guys, what if the world you lived in decided one morning that you were evil? Do you realise how lucky you are right now? You can pause the video and thank God if you'd like. It might make you feel better. Before we start, likes and subscribes help me keep making these. Where are you listening from? Drop your city and time in the comments. I'm always reading them thinking, wait, people in Chicago listen to history stories to sleep. Okay, in tonight's Whispers we are talking about the untold witch hunts of Europe. But before we go anywhere, get cosy. Pillows good? Blanket situation handled? Perfect. Trust me on this one. You're standing in a village square somewhere in the German states, maybe around 1590, though the exact year doesn't matter as much as the feeling in the air. It's early autumn, the kind of autumn where the light turns gold too early in the afternoon and the shadows stretch long across the cobblestones. You can smell bread baking somewhere, which is comforting, until you remember that the baker's wife was accused last week of spoiling milk just by looking at it. Now nobody's quite sure if they should still buy from him. But they do, because what choice is there really? Life continues even when it doesn't make sense. The square is empty except for a few chickens pecking at nothing in particular, doing that frantic chicken thing where they seem both incredibly busy and completely aimless. There's a well in the centre, stone and ancient, the kind that's been here longer than anyone's grandfather can remember. Someone's bucket sits on the edge. You can hear water dripping back down into the darkness below. It's a lonely sound. You're not anyone important in this village. Let's say you're a weaver. You make cloth, wool mostly, linen when you can afford the flax. Your hands are always slightly raw from the work, fingers stained with dye that never quite washes out completely. Indigo blue has been living under your fingernails for 3 months now. You've stopped noticing. Your back hurts in the morning because your loom is positioned badly in your workshop, but moving it would be a whole thing, so you just live with it. This is what life is. Small pains you accommodate, routines that justify themselves through repetition. The thing about living in this time, this place, is that you've learned to be careful about everything. How you speak, how you look at people, whether you smile too much or not enough. You've learned that being noticed is dangerous, but being invisible is impossible. Everyone knows everyone. The butcher knows you like the fatty cuts. The priest knows you sometimes skip confession. The woman who lives 3 houses down knows you once had a dream about flying, because you mentioned it years ago and she's never forgotten. People remember everything here. Memory is the village's second currency, after grain. Things have been strange lately. Stranger than usual. Last spring, every cow in the village produced sour milk for a week. The priest said it was a test from God. Your neighbour said it was witchcraft. Someone else said maybe the cows just ate something weird. But that rational voice got quieter and quieter as the days went on, because rationality doesn't comfort people the way blame does. Blame gives you something to hold on to, someone to point at. 3 children died of fever in the summer. This happens, of course. Children die. It's a fact of life so common that families don't name their babies immediately, waiting to see if they'll survive long enough to deserve the intimacy of a name. But 3 in one season feels like a pattern. Patterns demand explanations, and explanations, lately, have been landing on one particular word. Witch. You've heard that word your entire life, but its weight has changed. It used to be something from stories, cautionary tales, old women in the woods who ate children in fairy tales your mother told you. Then it became something more real, more local. Someone's aunt, maybe, a midwife whose patients sometimes died, which all midwives' patients sometimes did, but suddenly this was evidence. Proof. A woman who lived alone at the edge of the village and kept 13 cats, which everyone agreed was at least 12 too many. Now the word is everywhere. It hangs in conversations like smoke. It slips into silences. You feel it in the way people look at each other, quick glances that calculate risk and suspicion in the same breath. You're walking home from the market with 6 eggs wrapped in cloth, and you're thinking about nothing in particular. Maybe about the stew you'll make for dinner, whether you have enough onions. Your mind does this, wanders into the mundane, because the mundane is safe. The mundane doesn't accuse you of anything. The path from the village centre to your house takes you past the church, which is stone and solid, and somehow always colder inside than it is outside, even in summer. Father Wilhelm is standing by the entrance, talking to 2 men you recognise but don't really know. One of them is the magistrate's clerk, a thin man with a face like a suspicious ferret. The other is someone from out of town, wearing darker clothes, better made. He has the look of someone educated, someone who reads Latin. These kinds of people have been showing up more often lately. You nod as you pass. Respectful, neutral. The clerk nods back. Father Wilhelm doesn't seem to notice you, which is fine. The stranger watches you for a moment, and there's something in his gaze that makes your skin prickle, but you keep walking. You don't speed up. Speeding up looks guilty. You've learned this. Your house is small, timber and plaster, with a roof that leaks in 2 places when it rains hard. You've been meaning to fix it. You keep meaning to fix it. There's a small garden in the back where you grow herbs and a few vegetables. Parsley, sage, thyme. A struggling rosemary bush that you're pretty sure is dying, but you're too stubborn to admit it. The cat that's not quite your cat, but also not quite not your cat, is sitting on the doorstep, looking judgmental in that way cats do. You've named her Unnecessary, because that's what she is, and also because it makes you smile when you call her. Inside, the house smells like wood smoke and wool and the faint mustiness of a place that's never quite dry. You set the eggs down carefully. 6 eggs is a lot. A luxury, almost. You got them from the farmer's wife, traded for a length of blue cloth she wanted for her daughter. Good deal, you thought at the time. Now you're wondering if it was too good. If she'll remember it and think there was something wrong with the transaction. Something unnatural about how easily you agreed. This is what it's like now. Every interaction is a potential accusation waiting to happen. Every kindness could be reinterpreted as manipulation. Every bit of bad luck could be blamed on you. You start preparing dinner, chopping onions, which makes your eyes water in that specific terrible way onions do. You've never understood why humans decided to eat something that makes you cry just from cutting it. There's a metaphor there, probably. Something about how the things that sustain us also hurt us, but you're too tired for metaphors. The pot goes on the fire. You add water from the bucket you filled this morning. Drop in the onions, some carrots, a piece of salted pork you've been saving. The smell that starts to rise is good, comforting, normal. For a few minutes you let yourself just exist in this moment. Just be a person making dinner in their house. No accusations, no fear, just soup. But then you hear voices outside. Not close, but not far either. You move to the window, careful not to be obvious about it. Through the warped glass you can see 2 women walking past, heads bent together in conversation. You recognize them. Everyone recognizes everyone. One is the baker's sister-in-law. The other is someone's daughter. You forget whose. They're talking intently. You can't hear the words, but you can see the energy of it. The way they lean in. The way one of them gestures emphatically. They glance toward your house as they pass. Just a glance. Maybe it means nothing. Maybe they were just looking around, the way people do when they walk. But maybe not. Maybe your name just came up. Maybe someone said something about you, something small and seemingly innocent, and now it's spreading like a stain in water. Slow, inevitable, permanent. You step back from the window. Your heart is beating slightly faster than it should be for someone who's just making soup. You stir the pot. The motion is mechanical, soothing in its repetition. Around and around, the soup doesn't care about accusations. The soup just wants to be stirred. Unnecessary, the cat jumps onto the table, which she knows she's not supposed to do, and stares at you with those unblinking yellow eyes that cats have. You wonder, not for the first time, if having a cat is dangerous now. Cats have always been associated with witches in the stories, but also cats kill mice, and mice eat grain, and grain is valuable, so really having a cat is just practical. You've explained this to yourself many times. You're not sure it matters. The evening darkens slowly. You eat your soup. It's good, simple and hot and filling. You allow yourself to enjoy it, even though enjoyment feels risky somehow. Like you're not supposed to be comfortable. Like comfort is something that could be used against you later. You sleep badly that night, which isn't unusual anymore. Sleep used to be easy. You'd finish your work, eat your dinner, maybe sit by the fire for a while with some mending, and then you'd just sleep. The kind of deep, dreamless sleep that comes from physical tiredness and a clear conscience. Now sleep is something you have to negotiate with. It comes in pieces, fragments. You wake up several times in the darkness, listening to the sounds of the house settling, the wind moving through the thatch, Unnecessary doing whatever mysterious things cats do at 3 in the morning. Probably judging you. Cats are good at that. When morning finally arrives, grey and damp with the promise of rain, you feel like you haven't rested at all. Your bones ache in that specific way that suggests you've been tense all night, muscles locked against threats that never materialized. You get up anyway because what else are you going to do? Lie in bed and think about everything that could go wrong? That's not productive. That's just torture with extra steps. The morning routine is automatic. Stir the embers in the hearth back to life. Add kindling. Blow on it until your cheeks hurt and smoke gets in your eyes. Boil water for washing. Splash it on your face and pretend it wakes you up. Bread from yesterday? Hard now but edible if you dip it in small beer. Breakfast is a generous word for what this is, but it's food and you're grateful for it. Gratitude is important. The priest says so, though you suspect the priest has never eaten stale bread for breakfast 3 days in a row. You need to go to the market today. You're low on thread, and there's a merchant who comes through on Wednesdays with decent quality wool thread that doesn't break every 5 minutes like the cheap stuff. Wednesday is today, you think. Keeping track of days is harder than it used to be. They blur together, each one carrying the same low-level anxiety that's become the background noise of your life. The market is busier than you expected. Market days used to feel festive almost. People would linger, gossip, laugh. Children would run between the stalls playing games that involved a lot of shrieking for no apparent reason. Now the market feels hurried, transactional. People buy what they need and leave. Conversations are shorter, laughter is quieter, like everyone's afraid of being too loud, too happy, too noticeable. You find the thread merchant easily enough. He's set up near the fountain, his cart loaded with spools of thread in various colours, mostly undyed, but a few dyed ones for people with money to spare. You're not those people. You pick through the undyed thread, testing the weight of it, the texture. This is a skill you've developed over years. You can tell good thread from bad just by touching it. The merchant watches you with the patient boredom of someone who's done this 1,000 times. 2 spools, you say, holding them up. He names a price. It's slightly higher than last month, but everything is slightly higher than last month. You don't argue. Arguing draws attention. You hand over the coins and he drops the thread into the cloth bag you brought. The transaction takes maybe 30 seconds. Efficient, impersonal, safe. As you're turning to leave, you hear your name. Not shouted, but spoken clearly enough that you know it's meant for you. You turn and see Marguerite, who lives 2 streets over and has always been friendly in that surface-level way neighbours are. She's holding a basket of apples, looking at you with an expression you can't quite read. "I haven't seen you at church the last 2 Sundays," she says. Not accusatory exactly, but not casual either. Your mind races. Have you missed 2 Sundays? You thought you'd only missed 1. Or maybe you went both times but sat in the back and left early and she didn't see you. The details are suddenly slippery, evasive. This is dangerous. Missing church is noticed. Noticed things become suspicious things. "I was ill," you say, which might be true. You did have a headache 2 weeks ago. A bad one. That counts as illness. "Oh," Marguerite says. She shifts her basket from one arm to the other. "I hope you're feeling better." "Yes, much, thank you." There's a pause. It stretches out just slightly too long. You can feel other people in the market becoming aware of this conversation, even though nobody's looking directly at you. It's like a shift in air pressure, a change in the atmosphere. "Well," Marguerite says finally, "I should go. The apples are heavy." You nod. She walks away. The interaction was completely normal, and also completely wrong. You can't explain why. It just was. You go home. The walk feels longer than usual, though the distance hasn't changed. The thread in your bag feels heavier than thread should feel. Everything feels heavier. The air, your clothes, your thoughts. When you get inside, you set the thread on your work table and just stand there for a moment, staring at it. 2 spools of ordinary undyed wool thread. Basic, necessary, innocent. But you bought them and Marguerite saw you and spoke to you. And now there's a record of this day, this moment, stored in someone else's memory where you can't control it. You need to work. Work is good. Work is purposeful. You have an order to finish, a length of cloth for the tanner's family. They want it by Friday, which gives you 2 days. Plenty of time, assuming nothing goes wrong. Assuming your loom doesn't break. Assuming you don't get summoned to the magistrate's office for some invented reason. Assuming the world continues to function in approximately the way it's supposed to. You sit at your loom, the familiar position, your feet on the treadles, hands reaching for the shuttle. The rhythm starts slowly, then builds. Pass the shuttle through, beat the weft, change the shed, pass the shuttle back, beat, change, pass, beat, change. Over and over. The repetition is meditative. Your mind can wander while your hands work. This is both blessing and curse, because when your mind wanders, it goes to dark places lately. You think about Marguerite's comment about church. You think about the baker's wife who was accused of spoiling milk. You think about the 3 children who died of fever, and how someone must have been blamed for that. Someone always gets blamed, though you haven't heard who yet. Maybe nobody. Maybe everyone. Maybe the blame is still circulating, looking for a place to land. You think about the stranger in dark clothes standing outside the church with Father Wilhelm and the magistrate's clerk. Educated men, men who read Latin, men who probably read other things too. Books about demons and maleficium and the signs that indicate a person has made a pact with the devil. These books exist. You've heard about them. Everyone has. They're becoming popular apparently, which is a disturbing thing for books about identifying witches to be. Popular suggests demand. Demand suggests use. The cloth grows slowly on your loom, inch by inch, thread by thread. It's good cloth. Tight weave. Even tension. You're good at this. You've been doing it since you were 12 years old, when your mother taught you, and her mother taught her, going back who knows how many generations. Women at looms, making fabric, creating something useful and tangible and real from raw materials and skill and time. There's dignity in this work, honor. You wish that mattered more. Unnecessary appears from wherever she's been sleeping and jumps onto your lap, which is inconvenient because you're trying to work. She curls into a ball anyway, purring like a small furry engine. You let her stay. The warmth is nice, the purring is soothing. You keep working around her, adjusting your movements to accommodate her presence. This is what you do. Adjust, accommodate, make yourself smaller so others can be comfortable. The afternoon passes. The light through your window shifts from grey to greyer. It starts to rain, soft at first, then harder. The leak in your roof begins its familiar dripping. You've put a bucket under it. The sound of water hitting the bottom of the wooden bucket is rhythmic, almost musical. Drip, 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 drip. A tempo to work by. You're so focused on the weaving that you almost don't hear the knock on your door. It's quiet, tentative. Not the authoritative pounding of officials, which is a relief, but still, unexpected visitors are rarely good news. You set unnecessary on the floor, ignoring her irritated meow, and go to the door. You open it carefully, just a crack at first. It's Anna, the midwife. She's older than you by maybe 15 years, with grey hair pulled back under a kerchief and a face that's seen things. Birth and death and everything in between. She's gotten soaked by the rain. Water drips from her cloak. "Can I come in?" she asks quietly. You hesitate for just a second, which you hate yourself for. This is Anna. You've known her for years. She delivered your neighbour's baby last spring. She makes a tea for headaches that actually works. She's good. She's safe. Probably. But you hesitate anyway because trust has become complicated. "Of course," you say, stepping back. She comes inside, bringing the smell of rain and wet wool with her. You close the door. She doesn't take off her cloak immediately, just stands there, dripping onto your floor, looking at you with an expression that makes your stomach tighten. "I need to tell you something," she says. Anna stands in your small room, water pooling at her feet, and the silence between you feels thick enough to cut. You wait. Waiting is something you've become skilled at. Waiting for her to speak. Waiting for bad news to arrive. Waiting for the other shoe to drop, as your mother used to say, though you never quite understood what shoes had to do with anything. "They're making a list," Anna says finally. Her voice is low, barely above a whisper, even though you're alone in your house with the door closed, and the rain outside loud enough to cover almost anything. "A list," you repeat. The word feels strange in your mouth. Lists are for market goods. Things to remember, tasks to complete, not for people. Except they are for people now, apparently. Anna nods. She finally pushes back the hood of her cloak, revealing her face more fully. She looks tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix, the kind that settles into your bones and becomes part of your structure. The magistrate's clerk, the man in the dark clothes, his name is Heinrich Kramer. Well, that's not his real name. I think his real name is something else, but he calls himself Kramer. He's been traveling through the region, Würzburg, Bamberg, now here. He writes books about witchcraft, studies it. He's convinced there's a conspiracy of witches working to undermine Christian society. You absorb this information slowly. A conspiracy of witches. The concept is almost absurd enough to laugh at, except nothing about Anna's face suggests laughter is appropriate. Her expression is stone, her jaw tight. This is a woman who has seen every kind of human suffering, who has held dying mothers and stillborn babies, who has cleaned blood and delivered life, and pronounced death. If she's afraid, you should be terrified. "What kind of list?" you ask. Though part of you doesn't want to know, ignorance might be safer. Except it isn't. Ignorance just means you can't see the blade before it falls. Names. Women mostly. Some men, but mostly women. People who've been accused or suspected, or just noticed. He collects information, testimonies, gossip. He writes it all down in these little books he carries. Everything. Who missed church? Who had an argument with someone before their cow died? Who looks at people the wrong way? Who has cats? She glances at Unnecessary, who's grooming herself in the corner, completely unconcerned with the political implications of her existence. One paw licking, then the other. The simplicity of being an animal. Your mouth has gone dry. The question forms before you can stop it. Am I on the list? Anna doesn't answer immediately, which is an answer in itself. She moves further into the room, closer to the fire, leaving wet footprints on your floor. You watch those footprints. Evidence of her presence. Proof that this conversation is happening, and not just some anxiety dream your mind has conjured. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I'm on it. I know that much. You. The word comes out sharper than you intended, almost a bark. You've delivered half the babies in this village. You've saved lives. Everyone knows you. Everyone trusts you. I've also lost patience, Anna says quietly, holding her hands toward the fire. Her fingers are red from cold, the knuckles swollen from years of work. Mothers who bled too much. Babies who came too early, or too late, or wrong. That's the work. You try to help, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But now every death is evidence. Every difficult birth is proof of something sinister. Because it's easier to believe in malevolence than in the simple fact that bodies fail. That life is fragile. That sometimes there's no reason, no explanation, just terrible luck and the limitations of what we know how to fix. She sits down on the stool near your hearth without being invited, which tells you how rattled she is. Anna is usually careful about propriety, about maintaining appropriate boundaries between herself and others, but right now she just sits, practically collapsing onto the stool, like the weight of standing has become too much. How do you know about the list? You ask. Father Wilhelm told me. Warned me, more like. He's conflicted. Anna laughs, but there's no humor in it. Just a hollow sound that echoes wrong in your small room. Part of him believes in this witch hunt. Believes it's necessary. Holy work. Cleansing the community of evil. All those righteous words men use when they want to hurt people and feel good about it. But part of him still remembers that I'm a person he's known for 20 years. That I've sat with his mother when she was dying. That I make tea for his headaches. That I'm real. So he warned me. Told me to be careful. As if being careful is enough. As if you can just be good enough, quiet enough, invisible enough, and they'll leave you alone. Can't you? You ask. Even though you know the answer. Even though Anna's presence in your home, dripping rainwater and fear, is the answer. No, Anna says simply. The witch hunt doesn't care about careful. It doesn't care about good behavior or innocence or anything that should matter. It cares about finding witches. And if there aren't enough witches, it creates them. That's what the questioning is for. That's what the techniques are for. To create the confessions that justify the whole terrible machine. You sit down at your loom, not to work but because standing feels too exposed suddenly. Your legs are unsteady. What are we supposed to do? I don't know, Anna admits, and the honesty of it is somehow worse than if she'd lied and given you false hope. There's no good answer. If you defend yourself too strongly, you look guilty. Witches are cunning, they'll say. Witches are good at deception. If you don't defend yourself at all, you look guilty. Your silence is admission. If you're too friendly with people, they think you're trying to bewitch them. If you keep to yourself, they think you're hiding something, performing dark rituals in private. Every choice is the wrong choice. The game is designed so you can't win. Anna stays for another hour, speaking quietly about things you wish you didn't need to know. She tells you that the questioning happens in a room in the magistrate's building that used to be used for grain storage. They've cleared it out, put in a table and chairs, chains on the walls, though she doesn't know if those have been used yet. Probably they have been. Chains don't install themselves for decoration. The room smells like old wheat and fear, she says, though she admits that might be her imagination adding the fear part. Or maybe fear has a smell. Maybe it seeps into walls, into floorboards, into the air itself until the room becomes thick with it. She tells you that Kramer works with a partner sometimes, another man whose name she can't remember, or won't say. There's a difference. She tells you they have methods, techniques, ways of asking questions that make innocent answers sound guilty. They'll ask if you've ever had angry thoughts about your neighbor. Of course you have. Everyone has. That's just being human. But admitting it becomes evidence of malevolent intent. They'll ask if you've ever spoken to your cat. Again, of course you have. People talk to animals. It's normal, comforting. But suddenly it's evidence of communing with a familiar spirit. Every normal human behavior becomes sinister when reframed through the lens of witchcraft. The system is designed, Anna explains, so that there's no winning, no escape route. You're guilty until proven innocent, except there's no mechanism for proving innocence, because innocence is just guilt that hasn't confessed yet. Silence is guilt. Speech is guilt. Cooperation is suspicious. Resistance is damning. The maze has no exit. You can only walk deeper into it until you reach the center where the sentence waits. What happened to the baker's wife, you ask, interrupting Anna's description of interrogation techniques. You need to know. You need to understand what awaits at the end of this process. Anna's expression darkens. The firelight makes shadows dance across her face, deepening the lines around her eyes and mouth. She looks older suddenly, ancient, like she's aged years in the space of this conversation. She was questioned for 3 days. In that room I told you about. I don't know exactly what they did to her. Nobody does except the people in that room. But when she came out she could barely walk. She was diminished, like something essential had been scooped out of her, and she was just a shell walking around in the shape of a person. You wait. There's more. You can tell by the way Anna's hands have clenched into fists in her lap. She confessed, Anna continues, to spoiling milk, to causing livestock to sicken, to killing her neighbor's chickens just by looking at them, to attending a Sabbath where she danced with the devil himself and renounced Christ, and performed obscene acts that I won't repeat because they're absurd and disgusting and obviously the product of whatever happened in that room. But she confessed, in detail, with specifics, dates and times and descriptions, all of it recorded carefully in Kramer's book. Your stomach turns, and then she named others, 7 other women who were supposedly at this Sabbath with her. Women she'd seen there, she said. Women who were also witches. That's how it works. The confession isn't enough. You have to implicate others, prove the conspiracy, feed the machine with more names so it can keep grinding. Were you one of them? The question comes out as barely a whisper. No, not from her, not yet. Anna's voice is flat, resigned. She named the chandler's widow, the woman who lives by the mill, that girl who works at the tavern, the one with red hair, a few others. Some I know well, some I barely recognize. It doesn't matter if the accusations make sense, if there's any logical connection. Once your name is spoken in that room, once it's written in Kramer's little book, it becomes true somehow. Reality bends to match the confession. What actually happened becomes irrelevant. All that matters is what's written down. You think about books, about the power of written words. Your mother could read a little, taught you your letters when you were small. Reading seemed like magic then. Still does, in a way. The ability to preserve thoughts, to make them permanent and portable. But that power can be turned to terrible purposes. A book of accusations, a ledger of the damned, names written in ink that might as well be written in blood for all the mercy they'll receive. What happens to the women she named, you ask, though you can guess. They'll be brought in, questioned. The process repeats. Some will resist longer than others. Some will break quickly. But eventually they'll all confess because that's the only way the pain stops. And they'll name more women, and those women will be brought in. And on. The wheel keeps turning. The list keeps growing. Anna stands up abruptly, as if staying still has become unbearable. She moves to your window, looks out at the rainy evening. That's why I came to warn you. Not because I have answers. I don't. But because you deserve to know what's coming, what might be coming. Information is the only weapon we have, even if it's not much of one. When Anna finally leaves, the rain has slowed to a drizzle. She pulls her hood back up, becoming a shapeless figure again, just a form in wet wool moving through the grey evening. At the door she pauses, turns back to look at you. Be careful, she says. Then she adds, almost as an afterthought, though I know that's useless advice. There's no careful enough anymore. Just be. Try to keep being. You watch her walk away down the muddy street until she turns the corner and disappears. The street is empty after she's gone. No one else is out. The rain has driven everyone inside, into their houses, into their private anxieties. You wonder how many other conversations like this one are happening right now. How many warnings being whispered. How many women sitting by their fires, newly aware that the ground beneath them has turned to ice. You close the door and lean against it, feeling the solid wood against your back. Real, physical. Something that can't be reinterpreted or questioned. The door is just a door. It doesn't mean anything except the separation between inside and outside. You're grateful for things that don't mean anything beyond themselves. Unnecessary meows. Demanding dinner even though it's not dinner time yet. Her internal clock is unreliable. Or maybe she just believes that food should appear whenever she wants it. Cats have that kind of confidence. That absolute certainty that the world should bend to their desires. You envy it. Must be nice to live in a mind that doesn't second-guess everything. That doesn't replay conversations looking for mistakes. That doesn't see danger in every shadow. You feed her anyway. Scraps from yesterday's dinner. Some fish bones with bits of meat still clinging to them. She eats with the focused intensity of an animal who's never heard of social anxiety or political persecution. Each bite is entirely present, entirely committed. There's no part of her brain cataloguing potential threats while she chews. She's just eating, just being a cat in the most complete way possible. You watch her eat and feel a strange mix of affection and resentment. Must be nice, you think. Must be nice to just be a cat. No accusations, no lists. No need to carefully monitor every word and gesture for signs that might be misinterpreted. Just food and sleep, and occasional mice. A simple life, an honest life. The afternoon fades into evening properly now. The grey deepens. You should eat something yourself, but you're not hungry. Your stomach is a knot of anxiety masquerading as an organ. Food seems impossible. The mechanics of chewing and swallowing feel too complicated. You try to work instead. Return to your loom. Pick up the shuttle. Begin the rhythm again. Pass, beat, change. Pass, beat, change. The motions that usually soothe you. But your hands are shaking slightly and the tension is wrong. The thread doesn't flow the way it should. The cloth is coming out uneven. You can see the flaws developing in the weave. Gaps where the threads don't sit right. Places where the tension is too tight or too loose. Weaknesses forming in what should be a solid piece of fabric. The imperfections are visible, obvious, damning in their own small way. You stop. There's no point in ruining good thread because you're too nervous to work properly. Thread costs money. Money you don't have extra of. You'll have to undo what you just did. Pick out the flawed section. Start again. Tomorrow. When your hands are steadier. When you've had time to process what Anna told you. When your mind is somewhere closer to calm, though you're not sure calm is something you'll feel again for a long time. Instead you sit by the fire and try to think of nothing. This is harder than it sounds. Your brain doesn't want to think of nothing. Your brain wants to think of everything simultaneously. Every interaction you've had in the past month scrolls through your memory like an inventory of potential disasters. Every person who might remember something strange about you. Every small deviation from perfect invisible normalcy that could be reinterpreted as evidence of something sinister. You remember complaining about the priest's sermon last year. You said it was boring. You definitely said this. Several people heard you. Is that on the list? Criticism of the church. Evidence of impiety. Of hostility toward God's representative. You remember giving your neighbor herbs for her daughter's cough. The girl got better, which should be good, which was good. But now it could look like you had the power to cure her, which implies you had the power to make her sick in the first place. Healing becomes evidence of harming. Kindness becomes suspicion. You remember telling someone about a dream you had, flying over the village, looking down at the houses and streets from above. It felt wonderful in the dream, free, weightless. You woke up smiling. But flying is what witches do. Flying to Sabbaths. Flying to meet the devil. Dreams are involuntary, but will that matter? Can you be held accountable for the things your sleeping mind invents? Apparently yes. Apparently everything is evidence when viewed through the right lens. The fire burns low while you sit there, trapped in this spiral of retrospective paranoia. You should add more wood, but you don't move. You just sit in the dimming light, watching the embers pulse with dying heat. Orange, red, orange, red, like a heartbeat. Like the rhythm of a world that's becoming hostile in ways it wasn't before. Ways you didn't see coming even though maybe you should have. The signs were there. The language was changing. The suspicions were growing. But you were focused on your work, on your small life, on the immediate tasks of survival. You weren't paying attention to the larger patterns forming around you. This is what they count on, you think. People being too busy with their own lives to notice the net closing. By the time you see it clearly, you're already caught. You think about leaving. The thought arrives fully formed, urgent. Just pack what you can carry and walk away from this village, this region, this life. Start over somewhere else, where nobody knows your name or your history, or about that time you complained about the priest's sermon. Become someone new, someone without a past that can be weaponized against them. The fantasy is appealing, seductive even. A clean break, a fresh start. The person you are here could simply cease to exist. But where would you go? The witch hunts aren't just here. Anna said Kramer travels. Würzburg, Bamberg, other places. The paranoia is spreading like plague, like fire through dry grass. There's no running from something that's everywhere. No safe village where people have decided to be reasonable instead of afraid. Fear is contagious, more contagious than any disease. It jumps from mind to mind, mutating as it goes, becoming more virulent with each transmission. And besides, leaving looks guilty too. If you disappear suddenly, people will assume you fled because you had something to hide. Your absence will be proof of your guilt, more proof than your presence ever was. Your empty house will become a story people tell. Did you hear about the weaver who vanished in the night? Obviously a witch. Obviously fleeing justice. Why else would she leave? The story will solidify into fact. You'll be convicted without ever being present, condemned by your own absence. So you stay. Because staying might be dangerous, but leaving is definitely dangerous. This is what choice looks like now. Selecting the least terrible option from a menu of terrible options. Trying to calculate which path leads to slightly less suffering. There's no good choice. No safe choice. Just different varieties of risk. The room is almost dark now. Just the faint glow of embers. You should light a candle, but candles cost money. And you're trying to conserve. Trying to save what little you have in case you need it for something more important later. Though what could be more important than light, you're not sure. Maybe bribes. Maybe that's what you're saving for. Money to slip to the magistrate's clerk. To Kramer himself. Though you've heard that doesn't work. That once you're on the list, once the machinery has noticed you, money just delays the inevitable. Buys you days, maybe. Not salvation. Unnecessary jumps onto your lap without warning. Her small weight suddenly present. She circles once, twice, then settles into that loaf-shaped cat stew where they tuck all their legs underneath and become compact. She starts purring immediately. The vibration is soothing, steady, a small motor of contentment humming against your thighs. You rest your hand on her back, feeling the warmth of her through the fur, the rise and fall of her breathing, the absolute realness of her. This is what you focus on. The cat, the fire, the sound of rain on the roof, the leak dripping into the bucket in the corner. Drip, drip, drip. Physical things, immediate things, things that exist independent of interpretation or accusation. The cat doesn't care if you're on a list. The fire doesn't judge your dreams. The rain falls regardless of your guilt or innocence. There's comfort in that, in the natural world's indifference to human paranoia. Eventually you sleep, not because you want to, not because you feel safe enough to let your guard down, but because bodies need sleep even when minds are too anxious to accept it. Sleep comes like a thief, stealing your consciousness in small increments until you're gone without realizing when exactly you left. You dream of lists, long scrolls of parchment that unroll endlessly across a stone floor, names written in ink that bleeds at the edges, making each letter fuzzy and uncertain. You try to read them, but the writing keeps shifting, rearranging itself. Your name appears and disappears and appears again in different spots, sometimes at the top, sometimes buried in the middle among dozens of other names, sometimes at the very end like an afterthought, like someone remembered you just as they were finishing. You try to cross it out, but the ink won't obey you. Your fingers leave smudges, but the letters remain. They're permanent in a way your attempts at erasure aren't. The list has its own logic, its own authority. It exists independent of your will, independent of truth. It simply is, and you are simply on it, and nothing you do makes any difference. Someone is reading the list aloud. A man's voice, steady and emotionless, each name pronounced carefully, clearly, with equal weight. He doesn't rush, he doesn't emphasize. Each name gets the same treatment, the same dignity of clear enunciation, which somehow makes it worse. Like the list is holy, like reading it is a sacrament. When he reaches your name, you try to speak, to say, wait, there's been a mistake, I'm not supposed to be here, but your mouth won't work, your tongue is heavy. The words stay trapped in your throat, solid as stones. You can only listen as he continues past your name to the next one, and the next one, the roll call of the condemned proceeding in its orderly fashion. You wake in darkness with unnecessary pressed against your side, purring softly. For a moment you don't remember where you are. The dream lingers, more real than the room around you. Then the details assemble themselves slowly. Your house, your bed, the roof with its leak, the loom in the corner. Safety, or at least familiarity, the closest thing to safety that exists anymore. Your heart is racing. You can feel it pounding against your ribs like it's trying to escape. Your nightshirt is damp with sweat despite the cold. You lie there in the dark, focusing on unnecessary purring, using it as an anchor to pull yourself back to the present. Just a dream. Just your mind processing fear into imagery. Not real. Not yet. Outside, a dog barks. Someone shouts something you can't make out. A door slams. Normal night sounds. Village sounds. Life continuing in its messy, complicated way. People going about their business, getting up to piss, checking on livestock, having arguments about things that don't matter. The ordinary chaos of human existence. It's reassuring, somehow. The world hasn't ended yet. Things are still happening. The machinery of daily life continues to turn. You close your eyes and try to sleep again, but sleep is elusive now. Your mind is too active, too aware. You lie there for what feels like hours, drifting in that space between sleeping and waking where thoughts become strange and time loses meaning. You're aware of every sound, every creak of the house settling, every gust of wind, every time unnecessary shifts position or stops purring or starts again. Eventually the darkness begins to thin, not brightening exactly, just becoming less absolute. The quality of it changes from complete black to a deep grey. Dawn approaching. Not here yet, but coming. Inevitable. You can either lie here and dread it, or get up and face it. Neither option is appealing. You get up. The floor is cold against your bare feet. The house is cold. Everything is cold. You wrap your blanket around your shoulders and shuffle to the hearth. The embers from last night are dead, just grey ash. You'll need to start fresh. Kindling and patience. The slow work of coaxing fire back into existence. You go through the motions automatically, hands doing what they've done thousands of times. Clear the ash, arrange the kindling, add small pieces of wood in a structure that allows air to flow. Strike the flint, once, twice, 3 times, a spark catches. You blow on it gently, carefully, giving it oxygen without overwhelming it. A small flame appears, grows. You add more wood. The fire establishes itself, crackling softly as it consumes the fuel you've given it. There's satisfaction in this, in making fire, in transforming cold dead materials into warmth and light. It's alchemy of the most basic kind, magic that everyone can do, magic that's not magic at all, just chemistry and patience. But it feels like accomplishment anyway, like you've achieved something. Imposed order on chaos, created comfort where there was only cold. The room begins to warm. You put water on to boil. Tea would be good, something hot to hold, something to focus on besides the anxiety that's become your constant companion. You have dried mint leaves from last summer. They've lost some of their potency, but they're still good enough, still recognizable as mint, still capable of making water taste like something other than just water. While the water heats, you stand at your window and look out at the village. The sky is lighter now, definite grey instead of black. You can see the shapes of buildings, the street, a few early risers already moving about their business, the baker probably. He starts work before anyone else, needs time for the dough to rise. You watch the baker cross the square, his arms loaded with firewood. He's just a silhouette at this distance, no details, no face, just a human-shaped shadow moving with purpose through the morning. You wonder if he thinks about his wife, the one who was accused, the one who confessed, the one who named 7 others. Does he believe she was actually a witch? Does he think the confession was true? Or does he know what happened in that room but can't say anything because saying it would make him suspect too? Maybe he's managed to convince himself that it doesn't matter, that she's gone now and he has bread to bake and life to continue living. People are good at convincing themselves of what they need to believe in order to keep functioning. The water boils. You pour it over the mint leaves and watch them swirl in the cup. The steam rises. The scent is faint but pleasant, familiar. You wrap your hands around the cup, letting the heat seep into your palms. Small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. You have to take it where you can find it. Save it up like coins. You might need those small moments of comfort later when things get worse. If things get worse. When things get worse. You drink your tea slowly. There's no rush. No particular reason to hurry into the day. You have work to do. Always work to do, but it'll still be there in an hour. The cloth you're weaving won't spoil from waiting. The threads won't unravel themselves. Time is the one thing you have plenty of, even if the quality of that time has degraded, even if every hour now carries the weight of potential disaster. When the tea is finished, you force yourself to eat something. Bread from 2 days ago, hard now but edible if you dip it in water first. Your stomach accepts it reluctantly. Food feels theoretical lately, something your body needs but your mind can't quite commit to. But you eat anyway because not eating is noticeable. Not eating is something people comment on. You can't afford comments. You get dressed. Not your good clothes, those are for church and special occasions, but your everyday things. The dress with the mended hem, the apron with stains that won't come out no matter how much you scrub, the kerchief you tie over your hair. These clothes are like armor. Not because they protect you from anything, but because they're the costume of normalcy. The uniform of a woman going about her ordinary business. Nothing to see here, just another villager, just another day. Before you leave the house, you look at unnecessary. She's grooming herself in a patch of weak morning sunlight, completely absorbed in the task of cleaning between her toes. Try not to be suspicious, you tell her. She ignores you. Of course she does. She's a cat. Your problems are not her problems. You step outside. The air is crisp and damp from yesterday's rain. Mud everywhere. The street is a disaster of puddles and wagon ruts turned into small lakes. You navigate carefully, trying to keep your shoes as clean as possible. Clean shoes are respectable. Muddy shoes are just reality, but you try anyway. The village is waking up properly now. More people visible. The smith's forge already smoking. Someone driving a small herd of goats toward the common pasture. 2 women you don't know well standing by the well, talking in low voices that stop when you get close. You nod to them. They nod back. Everyone is polite. Everyone is careful. The air is thick with careful. You're heading to the market again, even though you were just there yesterday. But you need thread. Different thread. Finer thread for a different project. This is normal. This is what weavers do. They go to the market and buy supplies. Nothing suspicious about it. Nothing that should draw attention. You're just a person doing your job, just existing in the most unremarkable way possible. The market is less crowded than yesterday. Wednesday was the main market day. Thursday is slower, quieter. The thread merchant is still there though. He's one of those reliable presences. Always shows up, always has stock. You approach his cart and start examining the thread. He watches you with the same patient boredom as yesterday. You're just another customer, another transaction. He doesn't know you're on a list, doesn't know that buying thread from him might be one of the last normal things you do. You select what you need, fine linen thread, more expensive than wool but necessary for the kind of cloth you're planning. You pay without haggling, take your purchase. The merchant nods. The transaction is complete, simple, clean, unremarkable. As you're turning to leave, you see Father Wilhelm standing near the church entrance. He's not alone. The man in dark clothes is with him. Kramer. Has to be. They're deep in conversation, heads bent together like conspirators, which is exactly what they are, you suppose. Conspirators in the discovery of a conspiracy that might not exist. You don't stare. Staring is noticeable. You glance, the way anyone might glance at people talking, and then you look away and keep walking. Your heart is beating faster but you keep your pace steady, not running, not fleeing, just walking like someone who has places to be and things to do, someone whose conscience is clear, someone who has nothing to hide. You make it home without incident. Small victory. Another day of existing without drawing attention. Another day of successful invisibility. You close your door and lean against it, breathing slightly harder than the walk should have warranted. Unnecessary meows at you, demanding, imperious, completely unconcerned with your relief at having made it home safely. I know, you tell her. You're hungry. You're always hungry. You feed her, then you sit at your loom and begin to work. The loom becomes your sanctuary over the next few days. The rhythm of weaving pulls you into a kind of trance. Pass the shuttle through the shed. Pull the beater forward. Change the treadle. Pass the shuttle back. The motions are so familiar that your body performs them without conscious thought, which frees your mind to drift. Or to try not to drift. Sometimes you're not sure which is happening. Sometimes the distinction doesn't matter. The cloth grows slowly, inch by careful inch. You're making something fine this time, delicate. The kind of linen that feels soft against skin, the kind that drapes well, makes good undergarments or summer shifts or baby clothes. Not that you know who you're making it for yet. Sometimes you just weave because weaving is what you do. You'll find a buyer later. Someone always needs cloth. This is one of the certainties of life. People need clothing. Clothing wears out. The cycle continues. Your work has purpose even when nothing else does. The weather stays grey and damp. Autumn settling in properly now. The leaves are turning colors that would be beautiful if you had the mental space to appreciate beauty. Reds and golds and oranges. But you look at them and mostly just think about winter coming, about needing firewood, about whether your roof will hold through the snow, or if those leaks will get worse. Practical concerns, survival concerns. Beauty is a luxury you can't quite afford right now. You go to church on Sunday. You make absolutely sure you go to church on Sunday. You arrive early enough to be noticed arriving. You sit in your usual spot. You stand when you're supposed to stand. Kneel when you're supposed to kneel. Mouth the words to prayers you've known since childhood. Your mind wanders during the sermon, which is about sin and temptation and the devil's constant presence in the world, but you keep your face arranged in an expression of attentive piety. This is performing now. Everything is performing. You're an actor playing the role of a devout villager, hoping the audience doesn't see through the costume. Father Wilhelm's voice echoes through the stone church. He's talking about vigilance, about the need to watch for signs of evil in your neighbors, in yourselves. Evil is cunning, he says. Evil disguises itself, wears the face of innocence. Only through constant watchfulness can the faithful protect themselves from corruption. It's your duty as Christians to report suspicious behavior, to help root out the poison before it spreads. You listen and feel cold, colder than the stone walls around you can account for. He's asking people to inform on each other, to see every neighbor as a potential threat, to trust no one. This is how communities die, you think, not through invasion or plague or famine, through this, through the slow poison of manufactured suspicion, through the transformation of neighbors into informants. After the service, people linger outside the church. This is normal. This is what people do. They talk, exchange news, complain about the weather, make plans. But today the conversations feel different, tighter, more careful. People speak in lower voices, glance around before saying anything even mildly controversial. The ease that used to characterize these gatherings is gone, replaced by something watchful, something afraid. You don't linger, you nod to people, say good morning, comment that yes, it does look like more rain coming. Then you leave, walking at a normal pace, not fleeing. Just someone who has things to do at home, someone whose time is valuable, someone unremarkable. Marguerite is walking the same direction. She falls into step beside you without being invited. That was quite a sermon, she says. You make a non-committal sound, agreement or disagreement. She can interpret it however she wants. Father Wilhelm seems very concerned about evil in the village, Marguerite continues. She's watching you from the corner of her eye, testing, probing, looking for your reaction. He's concerned about our souls, you say carefully, neutrally. That's his job. I suppose, though some people say he's becoming obsessed, that he sees witchcraft everywhere. A pause. What do you think? This is a trap. Has to be. Every conversation is potentially a trap now. If you agree that he's obsessed, you're criticizing the priest. Evidence of impiety. If you disagree, if you defend his paranoia, you're endorsing the witch hunt, marking yourself as either a zealot or someone trying too hard to appear innocent. There's no safe answer. I think, you say slowly, that Father Wilhelm is doing what he believes is right, same as all of us. Marguerite nods, seems to accept this. You've successfully said nothing while appearing to say something, a skill you're developing rapidly, the art of the non-committal response, of creating the impression of engagement while actually revealing nothing. You reach your street and Marguerite continues past, heading toward her own house. You breathe slightly easier once she's gone. Another interaction survived, another potential accusation avoided. You're keeping score now, counting successful encounters like victories in a war you didn't choose to fight. Inside your house, you allow yourself to drop the performance for a moment. Just let your shoulders slump. Let your face relax from its careful arrangement of neutral pleasantness. Let yourself feel the exhaustion that comes from constant vigilance. It's only been a few days since Anna warned you, but it feels like months, like years, like you've aged decades in the space of a week. Unnecessary winds around your ankles, meowing, oblivious to human drama, concerned only with the immediate question of food. You envy her this simplicity, this ability to exist entirely in the present moment with no anxiety about the future and no regret about the past, just hunger and the reasonable expectation that the larger creature in the house will address that hunger. You feed her, then you sit at your loom because sitting at your loom is safe, is normal, is what you do. The cloth you're working on is progressing nicely. The weave is tight and even. No flaws, no mistakes. At least here, in this one small area of your life, you can create something perfect, something that can't be criticized or reinterpreted. Just good cloth, objectively good, doing what cloth is supposed to do. The afternoon passes in the steady rhythm of weaving. You lose yourself in it as much as you can. The shuttle passes back and forth. The beater strikes. The cloth grows. Time moves forward because time has no choice. It can't stop just because you're afraid, just because the world has become hostile. It continues its relentless march and pulls you along whether you're ready or not. You're so focused on the work that you almost don't hear the knock. It's soft, hesitant, not the aggressive pounding of officials coming to arrest you. Just someone at your door, someone who wants to talk. Maybe. You set down the shuttle and go to the door. Open it carefully, not wide, just enough to see who's there. It's the girl from the tavern, the one with red hair, the one Anna said was named by the baker's wife. She's young, maybe 16, standing on your doorstep looking terrified. Her eyes are red from crying. Her hands are shaking. "Please," she says, "can I come in? I don't know where else to go." You should say no. You should close the door. Getting involved with someone who's been accused is dangerous, potentially fatal. Association becomes evidence. Helping becomes conspiracy. The smart thing, the safe thing, is to protect yourself. To say you're sorry but you can't help. To close the door and go back to your loom and pretend this conversation never happened. But she's 16, and she's terrified, and you remember being 16. Remember how small the world felt, how impossible it seemed that adults could be wrong about important things, how much you trusted that there was some underlying fairness to existence, some guarantee that good behavior would be rewarded and innocence would be recognized. You step back, let her in, close the door behind her. She stands in your small room looking lost, like she's not sure what to do with her hands or where to look or how to begin saying whatever she came here to say. You wait, give her time, rush her and she'll just get more flustered. "They're going to question me," she says finally. "Tomorrow. The magistrate sent word. I have to present myself at the building at noon tomorrow." Her voice breaks. "I didn't do anything. I've never done anything. I don't even know the baker's wife. I mean, I know her. Everyone knows everyone. But I've never spoken to her except to say good morning maybe twice. I've never been to her house. I've never had any kind of conversation with her at all. And she named me, said I was at a Sabbath with her, dancing with the devil. It's not true. None of it's true." "I know," you say quietly. "Do you?" She looks at you with desperate hope. "Do you actually know, or are you just saying that to be kind?" "I know," you repeat, more firmly this time. "The accusations are false. The Sabbaths aren't real. None of it's real. It's just fear and paranoia creating monsters where there aren't any." She starts crying properly now, not quiet tears, huge, gasping sobs that shake her whole body. You put your arms around her awkwardly. You're not good at comforting people. You're not good at physical affection, but she needs something and this is what you have to offer. So you hold her while she cries and make soft shushing sounds and tell her it'll be okay, even though you don't know if it will be okay. Even though it probably won't be okay, but lies that comfort are sometimes more valuable than truths that destroy. Eventually the sobbing subsides. She pulls back, wiping her face with her hands. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. I'm putting you in danger. If they know you let me in, if someone saw me come here, let me worry about that," you say. Though she's right, she is putting you in danger. Her presence in your house is evidence of something. Association with the accused, sympathy for witches, conspiracy. But what's done is done. She's here now. Sending her away won't erase the fact that she came. The girl sits on your stool, the same one Anna sat on days ago. It's becoming the chair for frightened women seeking comfort you can't actually provide. She's still shaking. Her hands won't stay still. They twist in her lap, fingers knotting together and pulling apart, and knotting again in an endless anxious rhythm. You recognize the motion. Your own hands do similar things when you're trying to hold yourself together. "What's your name?" you ask. You realize you don't actually know it. She's always been just the girl from the tavern, the one with red hair. A visual description instead of a person. "Elsa," she says. "My name is Elsa." "Elsa," you repeat, making it real, making her real. Not just an accused witch or a frightened girl, but a person with a name, with a life, with a self that exists independent of accusations. "I'm sorry this is happening to you." "What do I do?" She looks at you like you might have answers. like adults are supposed to know what to do in impossible situations. Tomorrow at noon, what do I say to them? How do I convince them I'm not a witch? You sit down at your loom, not to work but because you need something solid at your back. I don't know if you can convince them. That's not how this works. It's not about truth or evidence. It's about confirmation. They've already decided you're guilty. The questioning is just to extract the confession that proves what they already believe. Her face crumples. So there's nothing I can do? I just go there and let them hurt me until I confess to things I didn't do. You could run, you say, though even as the words leave your mouth you know how inadequate they are. Leave tonight. Go somewhere far away. Change your name. Start over. Where Elsa's laugh is bitter. Too bitter for someone so young. Where can I go that this hasn't spread? Where can I go without papers, without money, without knowing anyone? I'd be a strange girl showing up alone in a new place. That's suspicious too. That's exactly the kind of person they'd suspect first. She's right, of course. Running is a fantasy, an escape that exists only in your head where logistics don't matter and the world is kinder than it actually is. In reality, a 16-year-old girl traveling alone would face dangers that have nothing to do with witch hunts, would likely end up in a worse situation than the one she's fleeing. At least here she has some people who know her, some small measure of protection from familiarity, maybe, possibly. Though that protection is proving increasingly theoretical. Then you go tomorrow, you say. You answer their questions as simply as possible. You don't elaborate, you don't explain. The more you talk, the more material you give them to twist. Keep your answers short, yes or no when possible. I don't know when you don't know. I don't remember if you don't remember. And when they ask if I'm a witch, you say no, firmly, clearly. Look them in the eyes when you say it. Don't look away. Don't act ashamed or afraid. Just no. Simple, direct, the truth. Will that be enough? You don't answer. You can't lie to her and you can't tell her the truth. The truth is that it probably won't be enough, that Kramer and his methods are designed to break people, to extract confessions regardless of innocence. That once you're in that room, once the door closes, the outcome is largely predetermined. But telling her this serves no purpose except to make her more terrified than she already is. I don't know, you say finally, but it's the best chance you have. Elsa nods slowly, accepting this non-answer because what choice does she have? She stands up, wrapping her arms around herself like she's cold. Thank you, for letting me in, for listening. Nobody else would. Everyone's too afraid. They're right to be afraid, you say. So are you, but you helped me anyway. She manages a small, sad smile. That means something. After she leaves, you stand at your window and watch her walk away down the street. Her red hair is visible even in the fading light. A beacon, a marker, something that makes her memorable when being memorable is dangerous. You wonder if that's part of why she was named, because she stands out, because red hair is unusual, and unusual is suspicious, because in a world that's hunting for witches anything different becomes evidence. You don't sleep well that night. Again, sleep is becoming a luxury you can't quite achieve. Your mind won't quiet, won't stop running through scenarios, imagining what's happening to Elsa right now in her own house, whether she's sleeping or lying awake like you, whether she's accepted her fate or still hoping for some miraculous escape, whether she's praying, and if she is, whether she believes anyone is listening. The morning arrives grey and cold. There's frost on your window, winter asserting itself, reminding you that time is passing, that seasons change whether you're ready or not. You go through your morning routine mechanically. Fire, water, bread, tea. The rituals of survival, the small tasks that structure days and give them shape even when everything else is chaos. You tell yourself you won't go, that watching Elsa enter the magistrate's building won't help her, and will only put you at risk. That the smart thing is to stay home, to work, to focus on your own survival. But even as you're telling yourself this, you're putting on your cloak, finding your good shoes, preparing to go out. The village square is busy when you arrive. Market day again. Wednesday already, though the week feels simultaneously too long and too short. Time is doing strange things lately, stretching and compressing, losing its reliable quality. You move through the market stalls pretending to shop, examining vegetables you don't need, touching fabric you can't afford. Just another villager going about her business. Definitely not here to witness anything in particular. The magistrate's building sits at the edge of the square. Stone, solid, official. It used to be just a building. A place where disputes were settled and taxes collected and boring administrative work happened. Now it's something else. Now it's where people go and don't come out the same. Where the person who enters and the person who leaves are fundamentally different in ways that can't be undone. You position yourself near the fountain where you can see the entrance without being obvious about watching. Other people are here too. Not many, but some. All pretending to be doing something else while actually waiting to see the same thing you're waiting to see. Humans are predictable like this. We can't help ourselves. We gather for disaster, for spectacle, for the terrible confirmation that yes, this is really happening. This is real. Noon approaches. The church bell rings. 12 strikes, clear and cold in the autumn air. Elsa appears from a side street. She's walking slowly, not dragging her feet exactly, but not rushing either. She's wearing her best dress. Her hair is braided and pinned up. She looks neat, proper, respectable, like someone who cares about appearances, like someone who has nothing to hide. You recognize the strategy, the same one you use, the costume of normalcy, the hope that looking right will somehow protect you from what's coming. She reaches the building, pauses at the entrance. Just for a moment, you can see her shoulders rise and fall, a deep breath, steadying herself. Then she opens the door and goes inside. The door closes behind her. That's it. The moment is over. She's in there now and you're out here, and there's nothing you can do. Nothing anyone can do except wait and see what emerges from that building later, whether it's Elsa or something wearing her face but fundamentally changed. You should leave. You've seen what you came to see. Standing here serves no purpose, but you can't make yourself move. Your feet are rooted. You stand there with your market basket watching the closed door like it might offer answers. Other people drift away eventually, back to their business, their shopping, their lives. The spectacle is over for now. Nothing to see except a closed door and speculation about what's happening behind it. But you stay. You're not sure why. Maybe solidarity. Maybe guilt. Maybe just the superstitious belief that witnessing matters, that being present for someone's suffering makes it slightly less terrible, because at least they're not alone in it, even if they don't know you're here, even if your presence changes nothing. An hour passes, maybe more. The sun moves across the sky such as it is behind the clouds. The market continues its business. People buy and sell and haggle and gossip. The world keeps turning. The machinery of normal life continues to function even when nothing is normal. The door opens. A man emerges. Not Elsa. The magistrate's clerk. The ferret-faced man who's always hovering around official business. He doesn't look at the square, doesn't acknowledge the few people still lingering, just crosses the square toward the church, walking with purpose, official business, important things to attend to. You watch him go, wonder what his role is in all this, whether he's a true believer or just someone doing his job, whether he sleeps well at night or whether the screams follow him home, whether he has a wife, children, whether they know what he does in that stone building, whether they care. The door stays closed. Elsa doesn't emerge. Of course she doesn't. It's only been an hour. Anna said the baker's wife was questioned for 3 days. 3 days in that room. 3 days of whatever methods they use. 3 days until confession becomes preferable to continued resistance. Until lies become easier than truth. Until your own voice saying terrible things about yourself becomes a relief because at least it makes the questions stop. You finally force yourself to leave. Standing here won't help. Won't change anything. You're just marking yourself as someone interested. Someone concerned. Someone who cares about the accused girl, all of which is dangerous, all of which could be interpreted as evidence of association, of sympathy, of shared guilt. You walk home through streets that feel different now. Everything looks the same. The buildings haven't moved. The cobblestones are still cobblestones. The fountain still drips. But the quality of the air has changed. Like the village itself is holding its breath, waiting. Everyone moving through their day with one part of their attention always somewhere else, always on that closed door. Always wondering what's happening inside. Your house feels smaller when you get back, the walls closer together, the ceiling lower, like the space is contracting around you. Or maybe you're expanding, made larger by fear, taking up more room because anxiety needs somewhere to go and it fills whatever container you provide. You try to work, sit at your loom, pick up the shuttle. But your hands won't cooperate. The rhythm is wrong. Everything is wrong. You set the shuttle down after ruining several inches of weaving. There's no point. You'll just have to undo it later. Instead you clean. Scrub the floor even though it doesn't need scrubbing. Wipe down surfaces that are already clean. Organize things that are already organized. Busy work. Purposeless motion. But it gives your hands something to do. gives your mind something to focus on besides Elsa in that room. Elsa being asked questions she can't answer correctly because there are no correct answers. Elsa learning that innocence is not protection, that truth is not defense, that the system is designed to break you regardless of what you've actually done. Unnecessary watches you from her spot on the windowsill, judging your frantic cleaning with feline disdain. She's right, of course. This is absurd. Cleaning won't save Elsa, won't protect you, won't change anything about the situation you're all in. But humans need the illusion of control, need to feel like we're doing something, even when doing something is impossible. So you scrub. The day crawls past, afternoon fading into evening, the light dimming. You eat something. You're not sure what. Food is just fuel now, just the mechanical process of putting things in your mouth and chewing and swallowing because bodies need maintenance. There's no pleasure in it, no taste, just necessity. You're standing at your window watching the street when you see Anna. She's walking quickly, head down, moving with purpose. She turns onto your street and you realize she's coming here, to your house. Your stomach tightens. Anna doesn't visit for social calls. Anna visits when there's news, usually bad news. You open the door before she can knock. She slips inside quickly, efficient, practiced at being inconspicuous. You heard, she asks. Heard what? I saw her go in this morning. Elsa, the girl from the tavern. She came here yesterday, asked for advice. I didn't know what to tell her. Anna's face confirms your worst assumptions. She confessed, this afternoon, after about 4 hours, confessed to attending Sabbaths, to consorting with the devil, to causing the smith's son to fall and break his arm last month, to spoiling ale at the tavern through malevolent magic, all of it. Anna sits down heavily, and she named 3 others. The room tilts slightly. You reach for the table to steady yourself. Who? The chandler's widow, the woman by the mill. Those 2 were already named by the baker's wife, so this is just confirmation. Makes the case against them stronger. Anna pauses, looks at you with an expression you can't quite read, and you. The word hangs in the air. You. Simple, direct, damning. You've been named. You're on the list officially now. Not just a possibility, not just a risk. Actual, confirmed, written in Kramer's book in ink that won't fade. Me, you repeat. The word feels foreign, like it's happening to someone else and you're just observing, detached, not quite present. She said you attended the Sabbath with her, that you flew there together, that you taught her certain spells for causing harm, that you have a familiar spirit in the form of a cat. Anna glances at Unnecessary, who's grooming herself completely unaware that she's been promoted to demon. I'm sorry. I know you helped her. I know you let her into your house yesterday when no one else would, and this is how she repays you. But she was in pain, probably terrified. They break people. That's what they do. That's what the process is designed for. Dawn arrives, and you're still sitting at the window. You haven't moved in hours. Your body is stiff. Your eyes hurt from not blinking enough. But you've made a decision. Somewhere in the long, dark hours of waiting, you've decided what you're going to do. You're going to tell the truth, for as long as you can, as long as your body allows, as long as your mind stays intact. You're not going to confess immediately, not going to make it easy for them, not because you think it will change anything, not because you believe truth will save you, but because the truth is all you have left, the only thing they can't take unless you give it to them. Your knowledge of your own innocence, your certainty that none of this is real, that the Sabbaths never happened, that your cat is just a cat, that your dreams are just dreams, that you're just a person who makes cloth and feeds chickens and complains about leaky roofs. They can take your body, your reputation, your life, but they can't take your knowledge of yourself unless you surrender it. And you're not ready to surrender yet, not without a fight, not without making them work for it, not without bearing witness to the fact that this is wrong, that you're innocent, that this whole system is a machine for destroying the innocent and calling it justice. Maybe it's stupid, maybe it's prideful, maybe you'll regret it when the pain starts. Probably you'll regret it. But it's the choice you're making, the line you're drawing. This far and no further without a fight. This is where you stand. You wash your face, put on your best dress, the one you wear to church, the one that's clean and mended and respectable. You braid your hair carefully, pin it up properly, make yourself look neat, presentable, like someone who has nothing to hide, like someone whose life is in order. The costume one more time, the performance of normalcy, even when nothing is normal. You eat a little bread. Force it down. Your body needs fuel even if your stomach rejects the idea. You drink water, strong tea, trying to fortify yourself for what's coming. Like you can prepare for this, like eating breakfast makes you ready to be tortured. The absurdity of it almost makes you laugh. Almost. Unnecessary follows you around the house, sensing something. Cats know when things are wrong, when the routine is disrupted. She's more clingy than usual, rubbing against your legs, meowing more, demanding attention. You pick her up one more time, hold her, memorize the weight of her, the softness of her fur, the rumble of her purring. This small creature who depends on you, who won't understand why you don't come home, who'll wait by the door for days before accepting that you're not returning. I'm sorry, you tell her. For what, you're not entirely sure. For leaving. For not being able to protect her. For bringing her into a world where loving something makes you vulnerable. Where every connection becomes a weapon that can be used against you. She purrs louder. Doesn't understand apologies. Just knows she's being held, and that's good enough. You set her down finally. Look around your house one last time. The loom, the table, the hearth, the bed, the ordinary objects of your ordinary life. Still here, still real, still waiting for you to return and use them. Except you might not return, or if you do return, you might not be capable of using them. Might not be capable of anything except whatever broken thing they make you into. The morning progresses. The sun climbs. The village wakes up fully. You can hear normal sounds outside. People going about their business. Carts, voices, dogs barking, chickens, life continuing. The world doesn't stop for your personal disaster, doesn't pause to acknowledge that your life is ending. It just keeps going, indifferent, relentless, moving forward whether you're ready or not. Noon approaches. You put on your cloak, check your appearance one more time. You look fine, normal, like someone going to market, not like someone going to be questioned about consorting with demons, not like someone about to be broken by methods designed specifically for breaking. Just a woman in a cloak, just another villager, just you. You open your door, step outside. The street is busy. People everywhere, market day, Wednesday, the weekly rhythm continuing despite everything. Some people glance at you, most don't. You're not that interesting yet, not that notorious, just another accused witch among many. Your scandal is too ordinary to attract much attention. You walk toward the square, toward the magistrate's building. Your feet know the way. You've walked this route hundreds of times, thousands, but it feels different now. Every step is heavier, every breath harder. Your body knows what your mind is trying not to fully accept, that you're walking toward pain, toward destruction, toward the end of your life as you know it. The building looms ahead, stone and solid and permanent. It'll still be here after you're gone. We'll still be questioning people, breaking people, extracting confessions. The machine doesn't stop, doesn't tire, just grinds on and on, consuming whoever's fed into it. You reach the entrance. The door is closed. Solid wood, iron hinges. You can open it and walk in, can enter that room, face what waits inside. Or you can turn around, run. Try to escape even though escape is impossible, even though running just delays the inevitable and makes it worse. You take a breath, then another. Your hand reaches for the door handle. The metal is cold against your palm. Real, physical. The last ordinary sensation before everything changes. You open the door. You step inside. The door closes behind you. The interior is dimmer than outside. Your eyes need a moment to adjust. Stone walls. A narrow corridor. Colder in here than it should be. The cold of a place that doesn't get enough sun. That holds darkness even at midday. You can smell old grain, just like Anna said. Wheat dust embedded in the walls. Years of storage leaving its ghost scent behind. And underneath that, something else. Something metallic and organic. Fear maybe, or blood, or just your imagination supplying details your mind thinks should be there. A man appears from a side room. Not the ferret-faced clerk. Someone else. Older. Thicker. Wearing the kind of clothes that suggest minor authority. Minor enough that he has to do the unpleasant work himself. You're the weaver, he says. Not a question. He knows who you are. Has your name on his list. Yes, this way. He leads you down the corridor. Your footsteps echo on the stone floor. His don't. He's wearing soft shoes, quiet shoes, shoes designed for moving silently. You wonder if that's intentional, if silence is part of the technique, part of the atmosphere they're creating, everything calculated to unsettle, to create anxiety before the actual questioning even begins. The room is at the end of the corridor. The door is open. He gestures for you to enter. You do. You step across the threshold, and the temperature drops another few degrees. No windows, just torches on the walls providing flickering light that makes shadows dance. A table in the center, 3 chairs, one on one side, 2 on the other. The single chair is obviously for you, the accused. The 2 others for your questioners. Already the room is establishing hierarchy, establishing power dynamics. You against them, 1 against 2, isolated, outnumbered. The man gestures to the single chair. You sit. The wood is hard, uncomfortable, intentionally uncomfortable probably. Nothing about this room is accidental. Everything serves a purpose. Every detail designed to break you down incrementally. The cold, the shadows, the uncomfortable chair, the isolation. Death by 1,000 small cruelties before the big cruelties even begin. Wait here, the man says. Then he leaves, closes the door. You hear a lock click. You're trapped now. Can't leave even if you wanted to. The choice has been made, or rather the illusion of choice has been removed. You're here. This is happening. The only question is how it unfolds. You sit in the silence and try to stay calm. Try to breathe evenly. Try not to think about what's coming. But that's impossible. Your mind won't stop. Won't let you have peace even for these few minutes. It races through scenarios, imagines questions, and your answers, and their responses, plays out conversations that haven't happened yet, tries to prepare you for the unprepared for able. Time stretches. You have no idea how long you've been sitting here. Could be 5 minutes, could be an hour. There's no way to measure, no windows to track the sun, no sounds from outside to give context. Just you and the chair and the flickering torches and the growing certainty that this waiting is part of it, part of the process, letting your anxiety build, letting your imagination do their work for them. By the time they actually arrive, you'll already be half broken from your own thoughts. The door opens finally. 2 men enter. One is the magistrate's clerk, the ferret-faced man you've seen around the village. The other is Kramer. Has to be. He's wearing dark clothes, expensive clothes, the kind that come from somewhere bigger than this village. His face is thin and angular, intelligent, the face of someone who thinks a lot, reads a lot, believes himself to be engaged in important work, holy work. The face of someone who's convinced his cruelty is righteousness. They sit down across from you. The clerk has a book, large, leather-bound. He opens it to a page marked with a ribbon. You can see writing, columns of it, names probably, accusations, the ledger of the damned. Your name is in there somewhere, written in ink, permanent. Kramer looks at you. His eyes are pale, grey or blue, hard to tell in the torchlight. They're assessing, clinical, looking at you the way you might look at a piece of cloth, evaluating quality, looking for flaws, determining value. You meet his gaze. Don't look away. Anna said not to look away, said it makes you seem guilty. Though everything makes you seem guilty, so maybe it doesn't matter. State your name, Kramer says. His voice is educated, cultured, not local. He's from somewhere else, somewhere important. His accent marks him as foreign, as other, as someone who doesn't belong to this village but has power over it anyway. You know my name, you say. It's in your book. Wrong answer. You can see it immediately in the way the clerk's hand tightens on his pen, in the way Kramer's expression shifts microscopically. You're supposed to be compliant, cooperative, answering questions without resistance. Already you've made a mistake. Kramer doesn't react overtly to your defiance, doesn't get angry, doesn't raise his voice. He just continues looking at you with those pale, assessing eyes. We begin with your name, he says, because we begin with truth, simple truth, facts that cannot be disputed. Your name is a fact. State it. You realize the trap. He's establishing a pattern, getting you used to answering questions, starting with things you can't argue with, things that are true and simple and obvious, building a rhythm of compliance, so that when the questions shift, when they become accusations, you're already in the habit of answering, already in the mode of giving them what they want. It's clever, insidious, the kind of psychological manipulation that works precisely because it seems so reasonable. But you're here now, in the chair, locked in the room. Refusing to answer won't save you. Will only make them angry sooner. Will accelerate the progression from questions to pain. So you answer. I'm a weaver. I live on Fisher Street. I've lived in this village my entire life. Good, Kramer says. Like you're a student who's performed correctly. Like this is a lesson in your learning. You see? Simple questions. Simple answers. Truth is easy when you're not hiding anything. The implication is clear. If you have nothing to hide, this will be easy. Only the guilty struggle with questions. Only the guilty resist. Already he's framing your future resistance as proof of guilt, setting up the logic that will damn you regardless of what you do. You know a girl named Elsa, Kramer continues. She works at the tavern. Red hair, young, perhaps 16 years of age. I know who she is. Everyone in the village knows everyone. She came to your house 2 days ago, in the evening. Is this correct? Your heart accelerates. Here it is, the real questions beginning. The ones that matter. The ones that lead somewhere dangerous. You could lie. Say no, she never came. But people might have seen her, might testify, and then you're caught in a lie and everything else you say becomes suspect. Yes, she came to my house. The clerk writes this down, scratching pen on paper, recording your words, making them permanent, making them evidence. Why did she come? Kramer asks. She was scared. She'd heard she was going to be questioned. She wanted advice. And what advice did you give her? I told her to tell the truth, to answer questions simply, to not elaborate unnecessarily. Kramer nods slowly. Interesting. You advised her on how to behave during questioning, almost as if you had experience with such things, as if you knew what to expect. I know what fear looks like. I know what it's like to be frightened. That doesn't require experience with questioning, just experience being human. And why would she come to you specifically for this advice? Why not her parents? Why not the priest? Why not any number of other people she might trust? Why you? The question is a trap. Any answer implies connection, implies relationship, implies that you and Elsa are closer than casual acquaintances, which makes her accusations more credible. If you were friends, then she would know about your witchcraft, would have witnessed it, would have participated in it. I don't know why she chose me. Maybe she thought I'd be kind. Maybe she was desperate and I was convenient. You'd have to ask her. We have asked her, Kramer says, at length. She's told us many interesting things about you, about your activities, about certain gatherings you both attended. She lied. Whatever she said, she lied. I've never been to any gathering except church and market. I've never done anything except work at my loom and live my life. So she's lying. Kramer leans forward slightly. This young girl, barely more than a child. You're saying she invented elaborate stories about you, made false accusations, condemned you out of malice or madness. Is that your claim? I'm saying she was in pain, terrified. She said whatever she had to say to make the pain stop. That doesn't make it true. It just makes it what you wanted to hear. Wrong answer again. You can feel it immediately. The temperature in the room drops further. Kramer's expression doesn't change, but something behind his eyes hardens. You've accused him, implied that he tortured a confession out of an innocent girl, questioned his methods, his righteousness, his holy mission. You seem very certain of what happened in this room, Kramer says softly. You speak as if you were present, as if you witnessed the questioning, which you did not. So how do you know what this girl experienced? How do you know whether she was in pain or simply relieved to finally tell the truth? How do you know anything about what transpires in this room unless someone has told you, unless you have allies among the accused, unless you are part of the very conspiracy we are working to expose? The logic is circular, airtight. Defending Elsa makes you suspicious. Accusing her of lying makes you cruel. Understanding the process makes you complicit. Every response is wrong. Every word you speak gives them more material, more ammunition. You're building your own pyre with every sentence. You try a different approach. I'm just a weaver. I make cloth. I keep a cat. I go to church. I pay my taxes. I've never hurt anyone. I've never practiced any kind of magic. I don't know anything about Sabbaths or demons or any of the things you're suggesting. I'm ordinary. Completely ordinary. Ordinary, Kramer repeats. He looks at the clerk. They exchange a glance. Some communication passes between them. That's what they all say. Every single one. I'm ordinary. I'm innocent. I'm just a simple person living a simple life. And yet somehow, despite all this ordinariness, despite all this innocence, the devil finds you, recruits you, uses you. Why do you think that is? You don't answer. The question is rhetorical anyway, or it's a trap disguised as philosophy. Anything you say will be used to confirm their assumptions. If you say the devil doesn't recruit anyone because the devil isn't real, you're denying scripture, denying the fundamental truth of Christian theology. That's heresy. If you say the devil targets the innocent to corrupt them, you're admitting corruption is possible, that the ordinary can become extraordinary through demonic influence, that you could be a witch even if you started as something else. There's no safe answer, so you stay silent. Kramer lets the silence stretch. He's comfortable with silence, probably uses it as a tool, lets it grow heavy and uncomfortable until people start talking just to fill it, just to ease the pressure. But you've had practice with silence lately, with sitting in your dark house, alone with anxiety, with enduring the weight of unspoken things. You can sit with this silence too, at least for a while. The clerk breaks it instead. The girl Elsa described a gathering, a Sabbath. She said it took place in the forest, near the old oak tree, the one split by lightning 3 years ago. She said there were 13 women there, dancing, performing obscene rituals, renouncing Christ, pledging themselves to the devil. She named you as one of those 13, said you were teaching her certain spells, showing her how to spoil milk and cause livestock to sicken. She was very specific about the details. Specificity doesn't equal truth, you say. I can tell you a very specific story about flying to the moon last night, about meeting the man who lives there, about what he served me for dinner. I can describe his house in detail, the color of his shirt, the taste of the food. Does that make it true, or does it just make it a detailed lie? Blasphemy, Kramer says quietly. You mock the sacred process of testimony. You compare holy inquiry to childish fantasy. This is not a game. This is not an intellectual exercise. This is the work of saving souls, of protecting the innocent from corruption, of cleansing the community of evil. Your flippancy reveals your contempt for this work. Your contempt reveals your allegiance. My allegiance is to truth, and the truth is that I've never been to the forest at night. I've never attended any gathering. I've never met the devil or made any pact, or performed any ritual. The truth is that Elsa is a frightened girl who told you what you wanted to hear because she couldn't endure whatever you did to her in this room. That's the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. The slap comes without warning. Kramer's hand moving faster than you expected. The impact snaps your head to the side. Your cheek explodes in pain, hot and sharp and shocking. You taste blood where your teeth cut the inside of your mouth. Your eyes water reflexively. You turn your head back slowly, look at Kramer. His expression is calm, untroubled, like he's done nothing more significant than swat a fly. Truth, he says, is not determined by what you want to believe. Truth is, what has been testified to, what has been witnessed, what has been confirmed through multiple sources. You are not the arbiter of truth. You are merely one voice among many, and your voice denies what others have confirmed, which suggests that you, not they, are the one speaking falsely. Your face throbs. The pain radiates outward from your cheek, pulsing with your heartbeat. This is just the beginning. You know this. The slap is nothing. A preview. A warning of what's available if you continue to resist. If you continue to claim innocence. The real pain hasn't started yet. This is them being gentle, being patient, giving you a chance to cooperate before the serious work begins. I'll ask you once more, Kramer says. Did you attend a gathering in the forest near the split oak? Yes or no? Simple question. Simple answer. You could lie now, could say yes, could confirm Elsa's testimony and move this process forward. Save yourself the escalation, the increased pain. Just say yes and let the rest unfold. Let them have their confession. Let them have their witch. What difference does it make? Whether you confess now or later, the outcome is the same. At least confessing now means less suffering, less damage, less time in this room with these men and their methods. But you think about your mother, about all the women who taught you your craft, who passed down their knowledge and skill, who survived difficult lives with dignity, who didn't break easily, who maintained themselves even when the world pressed down hard. You think about the truth, the simple, basic truth that you've done nothing wrong, that you're innocent, that this is all a terrible mistake built on fear and paranoia and false testimony extracted under duress. No, you say, I did not attend any gathering. I've never been to the forest at night, never performed any ritual, never made any pact. I am not a witch. I am innocent. Kramer sighs, like he's disappointed, like you've failed some test. Very well, he says. He stands up. The clerk stands too. They move toward the door. You think maybe they're leaving, maybe giving you time alone to reconsider, to change your answer. But Kramer pauses at the door, looks back at you. We have methods, he says, for those who resist truth, for those who cling to lies despite clear evidence of their guilt. The methods are unpleasant, painful, but necessary. The body you see is weak. It breaks easily. The flesh cannot sustain prolonged resistance. Eventually it betrays the will, forces the mouth to speak truth, even when the mind wants to continue lying. We've refined these methods over years, perfected them. We know precisely how much pressure to apply, how much pain to inflict, how to bring someone to the edge of confession without going so far that they're unable to speak. They leave. The door closes. The lock clicks. You're alone again in the cold room with the flickering torches. Your cheek throbs where Kramer slapped you. You touch it gently. Feel the heat, the swelling already starting. This small injury, this preview of what's coming. You sit in the chair because standing seems pointless. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. The room is maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. Stone walls, stone floor, the table, the chairs, nothing else. No windows, no alcoves. Just a box designed to contain you while they decide what to do next. Time passes. You have no idea how much. The torches burn steadily. Their light doesn't change. Doesn't give you any clue about whether it's been minutes or hours. Your body needs to use the privy, but there's no privy here. You hold it. Add this small discomfort to the growing list. The cold, the hard chair, the throbbing face, the need to piss, the fear, the anticipation, all of it building, layering, creating a foundation of misery that makes you more vulnerable to whatever comes next. You think about Anna's advice. Confess quickly. Don't resist. Save yourself the pain. It seemed cowardly when she said it. Seemed like giving up. But sitting here now, feeling your body's complaints, understanding that this is just the waiting and the actual torture hasn't even begun, you understand her logic better. What's the point of suffering for truth when truth doesn't matter, when the outcome is predetermined, when your resistance only prolongs the inevitable and damages you more severely in the process? But then you think about Elsa, about how quickly she broke. 4 hours, Anna said. 4 hours of whatever they did, and she confessed to everything. Named you, destroyed you to save herself. And it didn't save her. She's still guilty, still a confessed witch, still facing whatever punishment waits at the end of this process. She just arrived there faster, with less damage maybe, but the destination was the same. So what's the point of either choice? Resist and suffer more before confessing, or confess immediately and suffer less but arrive at the same conclusion. Both paths lead to destruction. Both transform you from innocent person to guilty witch. Both steal your life and replace it with something else. Something broken, something condemned. Maybe the point is just the choosing itself, the exercise of will, the claiming of agency even when the agency is meaningless. You can't control what they do to you, can't control the outcome, but you can control how long you hold on to yourself, how long you maintain your truth before their methods force you to speak their truth. That small window of resistance, that brief space where you're still you, still the person who knows she's innocent. That's all you have. That's the only victory available. Not winning. Just not surrendering immediately. Just making them work for it. The door opens again. Kramer and the clerk return. But they're not alone this time. There's a third man. Larger. Muscular. Wearing plain clothes. No expression on his face. Just blank. Professional. This is the one who does the physical work, you realize. The one who applies the methods Kramer described. The specialist in pain. The technician of suffering. Your bladder chooses this moment to remind you of its situation. The fear makes it worse, makes the pressure more urgent. You clench, hold, refuse to give them the humiliation of pissing yourself. Not yet, not unless they force it. That small dignity, that small refusal. We're going to ask you some questions, Kramer says. He's settled back into his chair. The clerk has his pen ready. The large man stands behind you. You can feel his presence, the weight of him, the threat of him. You're going to answer honestly, completely, without resistance. If you do this, the process will be brief. If you don't, it will take longer, much longer. Do you understand? I understand that you're going to hurt me until I tell you what you want to hear. I understand that truth doesn't matter. I understand that this is all theatre, that you've already decided I'm guilty, and this is just the process of making me confirm it. Your understanding is flawed, Kramer says. We have not decided anything. We are merely investigators, seekers of truth. What we've decided is that testimony has been given against you. Multiple sources, consistent details. Our job is to determine if that testimony is accurate, if you are indeed what they say you are. The quickest way to establish this is through your own confession, through your own testimony, through your willing cooperation in revealing the truth. And if the truth is that I'm innocent, if the testimony against me is false, how do I prove that? What evidence would convince you? Kramer smiles. It's not a pleasant expression. Innocence, he says, is proven through the ordeal. The innocent have nothing to fear. God protects the righteous. If you are truly innocent, you will be able to withstand the questioning without confessing to crimes you didn't commit. Your innocence will sustain you, give you strength. The guilty break quickly because their conscience weighs on them, because they know they deserve punishment, but the innocent endure. So you see, the process itself reveals truth. Your response to the questions, to the pressure, to the methods tells us what we need to know. The logic is insane, circular and self-confirming, and designed to ensure that everyone breaks eventually, and breaking is proof of guilt. The innocent suffer more because they have the strength of righteousness, but everyone breaks eventually because humans have limits. So breaking proves guilt, and prolonged resistance before breaking just proves how strong the devil's hold is, how deep the corruption goes. There's no winning, no scenario where you emerge with your innocence intact. Let's begin simply, Kramer says. Did you have sexual congress with the devil? The question is so absurd you almost laugh. Almost. But laughing would be wrong. Would be seen as mockery, as evidence of corruption, that something so serious could be funny to you. So you keep your face neutral. No, I've never met the devil. I've never had sexual congress with anyone, devil or otherwise. I'm unmarried. I'm celibate. I'm completely ordinary in every way. Kramer nods to the large man behind you. You brace yourself, but you're not prepared for what happens. The man's hands grip your shoulders. Strong hands, painful in their pressure. He forces you forward until your upper body is bent over the table, your cheek pressed against the wood, your arms pulled behind your back. You try to struggle, but he's too strong, too practiced at this. Within seconds you're immobilized, helpless, your face pressed sideways on the table, unable to move, unable to see what's happening behind you. The devil, Kramer says, his voice still calm, still reasonable, often takes the form of a man, an attractive man, seductive. He comes to women in their beds, in their dreams, makes promises, offers pleasures. The flesh is weak, particularly women's flesh, prone to temptation, prone to lust. You've never felt desire? Never had thoughts that shamed you? Never touched yourself in ways that brought pleasure? Your face burns, not from pain but from humiliation. These questions, these invasive, degrading questions about your private thoughts, your private body. Everyone has thoughts. That doesn't make them evil, doesn't make them demonic. It makes them human. Ah, so you admit to lustful thoughts, to desires of the flesh. I admit to being human, to having a body that has normal urges. That's not confession of witchcraft, that's just biology. The pressure on your arms increases. The large man twists slightly. Pain shoots through your shoulders, sharp and immediate. You gasp, can't help it. The sound escapes before you can stop it. The devil uses these urges, Kramer continues, exploits them, transforms natural desires into gateways for corruption. A woman alone, unmarried, no husband to satisfy her needs, no children to occupy her time. Such a woman is vulnerable, empty. The devil fills that emptiness, offers companionship, pleasure, purpose, in exchange for small things at first, small acts of rebellion, small blasphemies, then larger ones, until the woman is entirely his, body and soul. Is this what happened to you? No, nothing happened to me. I live alone because I choose to. I work. I have a cat. I go to church. I live a normal life. There's no emptiness, no devil, no corruption, just a person existing. The twist increases. Your shoulders feel like they're being pulled from their sockets. You cry out. Can't help it. The pain is too much, too sharp. Your body overrides your will, makes sounds you don't want to make, shows weakness you don't want to show. Tell us about the Sabbath, the clerk says. He's been quiet until now, but his voice breaks through your pain, pulls your attention. The one Elsa described, near the split oak. You were there. We know you were there. Multiple witnesses have placed you there. Just admit it. Confirm what we already know. Make this easier for yourself. I wasn't there. I've never been there. Whatever witnesses you have are lying, or mistaken, or forced to say things that aren't true. I wasn't there. The large man releases one of your arms. For a moment you think he's letting you go, but then you feel him doing something else. adjusting his grip, and then pain explodes through your left hand, your fingers. He's bending them back beyond where they're meant to go, the small bones flexing, straining, on the edge of breaking. You scream, can't stop yourself. The pain is different from the shoulder pain, more precise, more focused, like he knows exactly where to apply pressure to cause maximum agony. Your vision blurs, tears stream down your face, your nose runs, you're making noises you don't recognize, animal sounds, desperate sounds. The Sabbath, Kramer says again, relentless, patient, like he has all the time in the world, like your suffering is just background noise, just the soundtrack to his holy work. Tell us about it. Who was there? What you did? What rituals were performed? Be specific. Be honest. And the pain stops. Part of you wants to give them what they want. Wants to say yes. Fine. I was there. I did everything you say I did. Just make it stop. Just let me have my hand back. Let me breathe without screaming. But another part of you, some stubborn core that won't break yet, holds on. Holds to the truth. To the knowledge that none of this is real. That confessing doesn't make it true. That you're innocent regardless of what you say under torture. I wasn't there. You gasped between sobs. Please. I wasn't there. I'm telling the truth. I'm innocent. Please stop. The pressure increases. Your finger bends further. You feel something give. A pop. A snap. The sound is small but the pain is enormous. Your finger is broken. Actually broken. The reality of it crashes through you. This is real. This is happening. They're actually hurting you. Actually damaging your body. This isn't a test or a bluff or a warning. This is them breaking you piece by piece until you say what they want. One finger, Kramer observes. You have 9 more, plus 2 thumbs, plus toes, plus other bones. Many, many bones in the human body, all of them capable of breaking, all of them capable of causing exquisite pain when broken. We can spend days on just your hands and feet, weeks if necessary. The body is remarkably resilient, remarkably capable of experiencing pain without dying. We know this. We've studied this. We've practiced this. So you see, your resistance is futile. You will confess. The only question is how damaged you'll be when you do. They let you up finally. The large man releases you, steps back. You collapse into the chair, cradling your left hand against your chest. The broken finger is swelling already, turning purple. The pain is constant now, not sharp like when it snapped but deep and throbbing, radiating up your arm, making your whole hand feel wrong, damaged, broken in a way that won't heal right. You're crying, can't stop, tears and snot streaming down your face. Your breathing comes in hitches, gasps, your body in shock, not understanding how to process this much pain, this much violation. You've hurt yourself before, burned your hand on hot metal, cut yourself with sharp tools, twisted an ankle, but this is different. This is intentional, calculated. Someone deliberately breaking your body to extract words. It's violence of a kind you've never experienced, never imagined experiencing. Kramer waits, letting you cry, letting the pain settle in, letting you understand that this is your new reality, that this is what resistance costs, that more resistance will cost more, that your body has become a tool against you, a weapon they're using to break your will. Water, you manage to gasp. Your throat is raw from screaming, your mouth dry. Please, water. The clerk looks at Kramer. Kramer considers, then nods. The clerk pours water from a pitcher into a cup, brings it to you. You reach for it with your right hand. Your left is useless, clutched against your chest, throbbing. You drink desperately. The water is warm, stale, but it's wet. It soothes your throat slightly. You finish the cup. Want more but don't ask. Don't want to seem demanding. Don't want to give them reason to hurt you more. Better, Kramer asks, like he's being kind, like he's concerned for your welfare, like he didn't just have a man break your finger while you were helpless and screaming. You nod. Can't speak yet. Your breathing is still too unsteady. Good. Then we'll continue. The Sabbath, near the split oak. You attended. Who else was there? Give us names. Describe what happened. Be specific and complete and this can be over. You can go home. Tend to your hand. Rest. Heal. All you have to do is tell the truth. The truth. He keeps using that word. But he doesn't mean truth. He means confirmation. Means testimony that supports the narrative he's building. The conspiracy he's convinced exists. The evil he's dedicated his life to exposing. Truth is irrelevant. Only compliance matters. You think about Anna's advice again. Confess quickly. Name people who are already accused or already dead. Get through this with minimum damage. You have 9 more fingers, 2 thumbs, all your toes, your shoulders, your knees. Your body is full of places that can be broken, full of nerve endings that can transmit agony. How many more breaks can you endure? How many more snaps before you're so damaged you can't work anymore? Can't use your hands? Can't weave? Your livelihood depends on your fingers, on their dexterity, their strength. Every break is not just pain in the moment but loss of future, loss of ability, loss of yourself. Maybe Anna is right. Maybe the smart thing is to surrender now, while you still have 8 functioning fingers, while you can still hold a shuttle, still pass thread, still potentially return to your life, or some version of your life. Confessing doesn't have to be true. Everyone knows the confessions are forced. Everyone knows what happens in this room. Your confession won't shock anyone, won't make them think less of you. They'll just think you're like everyone else who's been here, broken by methods designed to break people, human, weak, normal. But then you think about your name in that book, written permanently, recorded as a confessed witch, part of the official record, part of history, generations from now. If anyone looks at that book, they'll see your name, see your confession, see the list of crimes you admitted to, and they'll believe it. They'll think you actually did those things, actually were a witch, actually deserved what happened to you. The confession becomes truth over time, becomes the only version of events that survives. Your actual innocence disappears, becomes irrelevant, lost to history. Is that better or worse than having more fingers broken? Is your historical reputation worth physical pain? Is the truth worth your body? These are impossible questions. Questions that shouldn't have to be asked. But here you are, in this room, with these men, with these choices, such as they are. I don't know what you want me to say, you tell Kramer. Your voice is hoarse, weak, but functional. You want me to invent a story, create fiction, name innocent people, destroy them the way Elsa destroyed me. I can do that. I can tell you whatever you want to hear, but it won't be true. It'll just be what I think will make you stop hurting me. Is that what you want? False testimony, lies that serve your purpose. I want, Kramer says slowly, carefully, the truth, nothing more, nothing less. And the truth is that you attended a Sabbath, that you are a witch, that you have made a pact with the devil, that you have performed malevolent acts against your neighbors. These things are true. They have been testified to. They have been witnessed. Your role now is simply to confirm them, to add your voice to the chorus of truth, to participate in your own salvation by admitting your sins and begging God's forgiveness. Salvation, you repeat. The word tastes bitter. You're breaking my body and calling it salvation. You're forcing lies and calling them truth. You're destroying lives and calling it holy work. If this is salvation, I don't want it. If this is God's mercy, I'll take damnation instead. Wrong thing to say. You know it immediately. Kramer's face darkens. His jaw tightens. Blasphemy, he says quietly. You reject salvation. Reject God. Choose damnation willingly. This is confession. Not of witchcraft, but of something deeper. Of apostasy. Of alliance with evil. Of active conscious rejection of Christ. He stands. Nods to the large man. She requires more persuasion. The finger wasn't enough. She's still clinging to her lies. Still protecting the devil. We'll need to go deeper. Break her more thoroughly. Make her understand that resistance is impossible. That surrender is the only option. The large man moves behind you again. Your body tenses automatically. Anticipating pain. Trying to prepare even though preparation is impossible. You can't brace yourself against bone breaking. Can't steel yourself against agony. The body doesn't work that way. But you try anyway. Clench your jaw. Hold your breath. Make yourself small and tight and resistant. He doesn't touch your hands this time. Instead, his hands go to your shoulders again, forcing you forward, pressing you down against the table, but differently now. Your right arm pulled straight out, extended, palm down on the wooden surface. You try to pull it back, try to resist, but he's too strong. Your arm stays where he puts it, exposed, vulnerable. You see Kramer stand up, see him move around the table, see him looking down at your extended hand, your 8 remaining whole fingers, your thumb, all of them splayed against the wood, waiting. You understand what's coming. Feel your stomach drop. Feel panic rising in your throat like bile. Please, you hear yourself say. Please don't. I'll confess. Whatever you want. Just don't. Please. Kramer pauses, looks at you. You'll confess? Fully? Completely? Without resistance or equivocation? Yes. Yes. Just don't break anything else. Please. I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. What I want to hear, Kramer says slowly, is the truth. Not a performance. Not words calculated to stop pain. The truth. Can you give me that? What does he want? What answer keeps your fingers intact? If you say yes, you're admitting you've been lying. proving you're guilty. If you say no, more breaking, more damage, more pain. There's no right answer, just choices that lead to different flavors of destruction. I'll tell you what happened, you say desperately, your voice high, panicked, barely recognizable as yours. I'll describe the Sabbath, the people, the rituals, everything. I'll give you names, details, whatever you need. Just please stop. Then begin, Kramer says, now, while you still have motivation to be honest. Your mind races. What do you say? What story do you invent that's convincing enough to satisfy him? Detailed enough to seem real? You think about what the clerk said earlier. The split oak, the forest, 13 women. You can build from there, can create a narrative around those basic facts, can populate it with details that sound plausible, that fit the pattern of what he expects to hear. It was 3 weeks ago, you begin, your voice shaking, tears still streaming. At night, maybe midnight, I don't know exactly. I walked to the forest, to the split oak tree. There were others already there, women from the village, maybe 12, maybe 13. I didn't count. Names, Kramer prompts. Who was there? You think fast. Anna said to name the already accused, the already dead. People who can't be hurt by your testimony because they're already caught in the same trap. Elsa was there, the girl from the tavern, and the baker's wife, the one who was questioned before. She was there, and the chandler's widow, the woman by the mill. You're listing names you've heard, names that have already come up, hoping this is enough, hoping he doesn't push for more. Continue, Kramer says. What happened at this gathering? We stood in a circle, around the oak, and we called to the devil, said prayers backwards, renounced Christ, said his name backwards too. Your mind is inventing as you speak, pulling from stories you've heard, tales about Sabbaths, and what supposedly happens at them, folk legends and church warnings and fevered imaginations. None of it real, all of it fiction, but fiction delivered in a shaking voice, with tears, with terror, fiction that sounds like confession. And did the devil appear? Kramer asks. His voice is gentler now, encouraging, like you're doing well, like you're a good student reciting a lesson correctly. Yes, he appeared, as a man, tall, dark, with eyes that glowed. He spoke to us, told us we were his servants, that we would do his work in the village, cause harm, spread disease, turn people against each other, against the church, against God. The words come easier now. Your broken finger still throbs, your body still aches, but the immediate threat has receded slightly. The large man has loosened his grip. Your arm is still extended but not pinned as tightly. You're performing correctly, giving them what they want, buying safety with lies. And what did you do in service to the devil? Kramer asks. What malevolent acts? Be specific. This is harder. This is where the confession becomes dangerous, where you have to invent crimes with victims, where your words might hurt actual people. You think carefully. Try to remember what Elsa said, what the baker's wife said, what accusations have already been made. Try to confess to things that are already known, already part of the record, adding your voice to existing testimony rather than creating new accusations. I caused milk to sour, you say, at the baker's house. I looked at the buckets and willed them to spoil, and they did. The milk curdled overnight, became useless. This is safe. This has already been testified to. You're just confirming something that's already in the book. What else? I caused the smith's son to fall, to break his arm. I wished him harm and he stumbled, fell from a ladder. I did that, with my thoughts, with the power the devil gave me. What else? What else? Your mind scrambles. What other misfortunes have happened in the village recently? What accidents or illnesses or bad luck can you claim credit for? You think of chickens dying, crops failing, a roof collapsing in a storm, all the normal disasters of life that happen regardless of witchcraft, all the unfortunate events that can be reinterpreted as malicious magic if someone wants to see them that way. The evening settles around you like a blanket, soft and forgiving, unnecessary curls tighter against your side, her purring a low, steady hum that asks nothing of you, except to exist here, in this moment, where the only truth that matters is warmth and breath, and the gentle rhythm of a small heart beating. Outside your window, the village grows quiet, lights dim in distant houses. Someone's dog barks once, then stops. The world exhales, lets go, moves towards sleep the way it always has, the way it always will, indifferent to the small human dramas that unfold within it. The moon rises, pale and patient, casting silver across the cobblestones, the same moon that's risen for centuries, the same light that's witnessed everything and remembers nothing. Your loom stands in the corner, faithful and waiting, the cloth half finished, threads suspended mid-pattern, holding space for your return, whenever that might be, however that might look. The work will wait. Work is patient like that. It doesn't judge, doesn't demand, just exists as possibility, as potential, as the promise that hands can create beauty even after they've been broken. You close your eyes, feel the weight of the blanket, the softness of the pillow beneath your head, the steady presence of the cat, these small solid things, these anchors to a world that continues despite everything, that offers rest, even when rest feels impossible, that promises tomorrow will come whether you're ready or not, bringing with it the same sun, the same birds, the same ordinary miracles of morning light and fresh bread, and another chance to simply be. And so you drift, let yourself drift, into that space between waking and sleeping where nothing has to be resolved, where truth and lies and pain and fear all dissolve into the gentle darkness, where you're just a person, just breathing, just here, just enough. Sleep well,